I honestly think if he can just fix that about his TVP, if he adjusts a little more to what actually happens in the games, he's not that bad in this matchup. He's way better than I think he gives himself credit for.
Oh, absolutely. Anyhow, getting into the match, the first map will be Pillars of Gold, and spawning in the top right, playing for Team Clash, it is Hellraiser.
And in the bottom left side, a man that's temporarily representing Team Cap. It is Cocast and then Authentic Petite or something. I don't speak French, guys. I have no idea what it means, but it is MarineLorD.
You know what he has, Kevin? He has a little logo on his building. You know what Hellraiser was missing? That big Q.
Yeah, I notice.
Needs to be fixed after this, you know? Get on the phone. Get on the phone. Anyhow, like the one, so I actually remembered I played a few games against Hellraiser, and I've been doing pretty okay on the ladder the last few days, or at least like over the past week. But there was one player that made me feel very, very hopeless, and he beat me with some very, very strange things, and that was actually Hellraiser. Like, there would be DTs at very random times, the mass oracle thing, like, it really made me feel he was clowning on me. And you know that feeling when somebody's owning you that hard with so weird things, and it's just like, wow, like I hate myself. Like it was really like one of those kind of situations. So and TVP can be one of those matchups where you can lose before you know you've lost, you know, like you throw down that last mule and a DT walks in, it's like, oh dear, like it's very frustrating. There isn't a formula you can follow every time and it will work out every time, but that goes for both sides.
Absolutely. No, I just hope we get to see some of that crazy stuff of Hellraiser, because if we're hyping it up and he just goes Twilight, Blink, Charge, 3-base, low gas, and we're like, no, you can do more than that, but he almost never plays like that. MarineLorD opened up with the Marine into Reactor, so he's going to skip the Reaper. This is becoming more and more popular, these greedy Terran openings, Benjamin.
Greedy, please. We just, you know, that 50 gas, it's got to be utilized elsewhere. And Kevin, we see a Stargate going down for the Protoss. Now, yes, he has a Stalker, and did he actually get in depth? No, just a Stalker first.
I wonder if with the Reaper.
Yeah, or maybe because he knew it wasn't a Reaper with the SUV Scout, and I don't know if he saw the Marine, he was like, oh yeah, I'll just go a Stalker, but maybe that doesn't make sense, actually, because he just got the Stargate earlier.
I think I figured it out. I think he was maybe a little bit worried that MarineLorD would open up with proxy barracks, because MarineLorD does sometimes proxy Marine as well. And I think against proxy Marine openings, you'd rather have a Stalker than a Adept.
No, that's true. That's true. Okay, on MarineLorD's side, because we got to talk about him too. So he's getting out a lot of Marines. Like, this is the fastest reactor you can get with making a unit first. He's also going for Widow Mines behind this. And we have to talk about the Widow Mine change, because that has changed a lot in this matchup particularly. Like getting out the armory at some point and those Widow Mines remain invisible after they've already shot. It's a really, really good change, I personally feel, at least.
Wow, let your colors shine through there a little bit, didn't you?
My true colors have been revealed, Kevin, you know?
You know what was also a really good change, man? Battery overcharge. You know?
Oh. You know, that one, actually, I'm not sure how the community feels about that one as a whole. It's definitely very good.
Oh, that's not good. Nope, that's not good. Now, obviously, the Phoenix can survive a Widow Mine shot, but I can tell you that you always get a little bit worried. And if you open up Phoenix, you really want to keep the Phoenixes around the Terran base. This is something I do as well. As soon as my Phoenix takes damage, you send it all the way home, because you're worried that 2 random Marines show up and then pick up your low HP Phoenix. But the power of Phoenixes is obviously seeing that something is leaving the base, knowing exactly what you're going up against. Right now, they're just kind of chilling at home. He has no idea from what angle this Widow Mine drop comes in. That's not a good start. It's not disastrous, but let me just tell you, nobody wants to fly into a mine and then not even being able to pick off the mine because it was just a single Phoenix there.
And Hellraiser had to go back home, and he didn't get to scout the base, so he didn't know about any armory or anything. And he gets in there, but he's going to be able to lift at least. Both Widow Mines go down. Great defense by Hellraiser here.
Yep, that is actually really good. I mean, that's obviously a way to feel a lot better about this game. Suddenly you completely forgot that mine even fired in the first place. MarineLorD is just slapping down a lot of additional barracks. And then we do see our robot base. You said it already as well. That's misplaced indeed. Look at Mapu. Like, Mapu, are you shaming MarineLorD over here a little bit?
I think he is a little bit. By the way, MarineLorD's opening was very odd. Like, he went 4 Widow Mines, I think, off the yeah, he went up to 4 Widow Mines off that factory, made the second medevac as well. So, I mean, he didn't necessarily know what tech he was up against, right? And now he's just keeping the Widow Mines back at home and the medevac back at home. So his opening's definitely been stomped a little bit by Hellraiser.
Yeah, Hellraiser is going to be able to get up to that Phoenix Colossus composition that you touched upon in the pre-show. Obviously a very strong opening, especially if you can get it up and running on 3 bases. I think Phoenix Colossus is so powerful that even if the Terran is up to 3 bases before you, it's not the end of the world, because Phoenixes can obviously bring games back. They can always harass without really committing too much. But if you can just rush up to 3 bases while playing Phoenix Colossus and then you survive the first push, I feel Protoss pretty much always wins, because then the build is just so damn good.
It's a very strong army comp against a lot of things that Terra make. And oh, that was a nice unburrow and a nice scan, making sure he didn't lose that Widow Mine or it kind of dealing friendly fire. But you find a lot of Terrans try and match it with Vikings, which can often feel like, yeah, this is obviously what I'm meant to go, right? Like they can technically beat Phoenix if there's enough of them. But when the Phoenix count is this high, I really feel that you have to kind of dominate the ground army and try and take advantage of the fact that there isn't much to deal with the Marines besides the Colossus. And if you can get on top of them with superior upgrades, but right now, Hellraiser's doing a lot of really good stuff.
Yep, he's got a Sentry for Guardian Shield. He's got a Immortal to deal some serious damage to the Marauders. Hellraiser is going to delay this push as well. Wants to pick up a medevac here. That is not going to work. But I think with a battery and then a potential overcharge as well, I think that Hellraiser should be able to survive. I would even say lift the Marauders in a fight like that, because if it's just Marines left, well, this Colossus is going to have a field day. If I was MarineLorD, I would really think twice about engaging this, because I don't think he should.
I don't think he should either. If those Phoenix do lift up the Marauders, like you said, oh, he snipes the battery. He snipes the Colossus. That was a perfect engagement. And right now, that was such a good engagement by MarineLorD.
Yeah, he might just win the game here, but that's not... So much for thinking twice about engaging this. There's now 4 probes go down. Still quite a few buy units left. Even this Immortal has lost his barriers already. Okay, Hellraiser barely defends. There's a couple of units in the natural as well as a Widow Mine drop. Good job, though, by Hellraiser there, paying attention. That went 17 times better than it actually was supposed to go. Careful, he's going to lose the Observer. No, he's not. But, wow, what a blunder there by Hellraiser. Not only did the Phoenixes just go to the main base because he was super worried he was actually going to get dropped, he also didn't move his Colossus back. The Guardian Shield fell a little bit late. That Colossus is not supposed to go down there. That's really unfortunate for Hellraiser, because he had all the tools in the right place to actually make that a super successful defense. He's still in the game now. He hasn't lost yet, but he lost the majority of his Phoenixes, so he has to rebuild that. He's going to fall further and further behind on upgrades. Man, Big Gabriel would call that a game-deciding fight, and it went in favor of MarineLorD.
He definitely would. By the way, that cast cracked me up between you guys. But I got to give credit to MarineLorD there. Like, him honing on that shield battery straight away. I wouldn't be surprised if Hellraiser's first response was trying to overcharge that and seeing it got sniped so fast and then kind of crumbling, right? Your list of priorities slowly falls apart. MarineLorD is now hitting +1/+1. He is ahead resource-wise, and, you know, when you're on equal probe count with your opponent, that definitely feels good too. But Hellraiser, he's not down and out just yet. And in fact, the supplies, they're pretty darn close, but make no mistake, MarineLorD's ahead right now.
Yep, especially because of the upgrades. That's the main reason why. And obviously the Immortal got picked off, so there's no Immortal left anymore. That means if the Marauder count goes up, and this army of Hellraiser is going to struggle. And Hellraiser also has a lot of army supply of very bad units, right? Make no mistake. These Stalkers, they don't have Blink, they don't have +1. These Zealots don't have Charge, they don't have any armor upgrades. Hellraiser's army kind of sucks. That's not how I put it. The only thing that's really good about it is these 3 Colossus. Now the Phoenix is going to show up as well. They're going to trap a couple of these Marauders. He ends up losing another one, though. It's just so hard for Hellraiser to really force the fight here, right?
It is hard, but this is kind of the one time that MarineLorD doesn't really want to fight. Like, he's got 2-2 on the way. He's trying to get that Viking count up. Like, he's doing a lot of things that are very, very problematic for Hellraiser. And Hellraiser, he knows it. He hasn't got any forges on the map, so he's retaining that Phoenix count, or at least trying to increase it. And the supplies are as close as they're ever going to be this game. But if this game goes on, Hellraiser's going to be behind a whole world of upgrades, so he has to make something happen.
It almost feels that Hellraiser just wants to all in here, but then he realized the Warp Prism isn't here yet. One of the Colossus is starting to run real low, and it goes down. I think at this point, Hellraiser's like, well, I actually would have loved to see him just fight there without the Warp Prism, just pop a Guardian Shield and drop Force Fields. Because when I said his army has a hard time forcing a fight, the only thing that can really force a fight are Force Fields, and that is possible if MarineLorD is kind of pinned towards a wall there, where there's obviously his natural or his third base on the left side that he wants to keep alive. Even though Hellraiser's army sucked, maybe with some good Force Fields, he actually could have made some magic happen there, and then you just wait for that Prism. But I think making this game go on and on, that's where your point really comes into play, Ben. Those 2 upgrades on the way. We're now going to have Ghost and Vikings. And, well, Hellraiser is going to need some disruptive magic. Otherwise, this will not go his way.
He's going to need incredible disruptor hits this game. He's going to need the absolute dream hits, because MarineLorD, he's doing everything right. The Ghost upgrades are coming. Sensor Tower's 4th base goes down. He's going to have so much money. He doesn't know what to do with it almost. 72 SCVs against 63 probes as well. Hellraiser is behind in every regard this game.
Yep, those 2 upgrades are going to finish up, and hence Shockwaves is almost done. And this is looking super good for MarineLorD, who got a miraculous fight earlier on into the game and just kind of secured the lead from that point forward. His army right now is just better. It's not even just a little bit better, it's a lot better. The first Purification Nova will completely whiff. There is a second one that's going to whiff as well. If I'm MarineLorD here, I just steam forward and fight. There's one more, but you just gun that one down. Vikings are going to get protected as well by these Marines and Marauders. That's a decent hit, actually. That connects with quite a few bio. Now MarineLorD is like, all right, you fired 3 times. Here we go. Picks up all the Colossus, Ben. And the rest of this Protoss army, it makes me sad. I don't even want to call it an army.
No, and Hellraiser loses his 4th, and he's lost all his vital units, and now he's switching completely to like a Disruptor Gateway mix, which, honestly, like if you get the Disruptor count higher, yeah, it's decent. It's not bad, but we see the next transition for MarineLorD already on the table. He's getting a Starport, getting the Fusion Core. He's getting 3 upgrades against the +1 attack of Hellraiser, only just finishing now. He's in so much trouble, and MarineLorD, he's just adapting perfectly.
Yeah, I love everything that MarineLorD has done in this game, other than, well, in the end, that fight was a game-winning fight for him. But I think if those Phoenixes were a bit closer, but I gotta say, I love how decisive he was. He saw that army, he sized it up, and he's like, all right, stim forward and go for it. And that was just a brilliant call. Now, I do know that MarineLorD hates Disruptors. Now, with Advanced Ballistics and Liberators, you should be okay. But this is maybe that phase in the game where you want to be a little bit careful, because those Vikings, they obviously don't contribute a whole lot over here.
No, they certainly
don't.
Oh,
no! What? Oh my goodness. I wish this was a live event. I want to see MarineLorD's face after that happened. He just steps forward now, gets all the Disruptors. GG gets called. Wow, I mean, that happens to me, Ben, but I don't normally see that happen at the Dream... Well, I don't want to say DreamHack Masters, but it's kind of a new event, right? But in the previous, at the Pro Circuit, you don't see those kind of mistakes very often.
No, and what a mistake when you're already so far behind, right? Like, you saw that Disruption Nova turning back on the army. It's like, nah, I won't let that go. And it goes into the middle of the army. Like, that was a perfect Nova. MarineLorD? Yeah. Like, it was one of the perfect Novas we were after, but yeah, you can't be doing those on yourself at any point in time.
He needed big shots, and that was a big one, but not the one he needed. Not one we normally bring up either. I don't think it really changed the outcome of that game, guys. MarineLorD was truly running away with it. He was super far ahead, and he was getting the correct answer already, which were those Liberators with Advanced Ballistics. But Disruptors have been part of some magical, crazy comebacks in the past. That is one way to make sure there is not going to be a comeback. No,
like we could go over that situation, the initial one with that bio army moving out against that army. Like, we can go over it 10, 100 times, and maybe it would play out differently every time, but I don't know what Hellraiser was looking at. Maybe because there was a Widowmine drop, obviously, at the same time. And maybe that was just really well calculated by MarineLorD to tax the multitasking of his opponent, but what was the expression where everything falls into place at the right time? Like, that went as clean as it possibly could for MarineLorD. Like, a very, very good decisive play by him.
No, absolutely. He saw the opportunity and he went for it. But I think if you're Hellraiser there as well, and he's a very experienced player with Phoenix Colossus Immortal, since you're doing that build of a single robo, you know that the robo units are key there. And yeah, defending probes and stuff is important. But what's a lot more important is protecting your Colossus, protecting your Immortal. And it's not even just that the Phoenix weren't there. Obviously, the Phoenixes, if they were there, they would have made all the difference when that Colossus and Immortal was still alive. But it's also that the Colossus was sitting on top of the Protoss army, and it didn't utilize its range at all. Like, the power of the Colossus is that it can stand behind those gateway units and then just fire away those lasers. Marines, they kind of line up if they want to get closer. Colossus gets big shots off, and that's the way that those fights are supposed to go. But Hellraiser making two very big mistakes there. First, Phoenix is not participating in the fight. Second, just not moving the Colossus into the correct position. And games just fall apart there. It obviously went on for a while, and it gave us a beautiful disruption hit, but that could have been a very different game. Up to that point, everything was all right for the Ukrainian. Let's see if he can get things together here in game 2 on Everdream. As we look in his main base on the right top side, the Protoss from Ukraine, it is Hellraiser.
And spawning in the bottom left side, as I read Terran, looking pretty darn good so far, it is MarineLorD. You know what's also kind of like worth mentioning? Hellraiser shut down that initial Widowmine drop about as good as you can. And I mean, it was as good as you can. He got the medevac and the 2 Widowmines without either one of them burrowing. So MarineLorD to then win that so decisively with that push out afterwards, like, he's going to be feeling very confident. And that's something that we don't often talk about, like the confidence of players going into series based on what happened in the first game.
No, for sure. I'm totally with you. If I play a PvT like Hellraiser just did, and that's a style that I truly enjoy myself as well, if that's the way the initial opening goes, and you get 2 mines, and you get the medevac, and you don't lose a single probe, you're like, all right, well, this game is mine to lose at this point. And obviously, you know, you need to do things correctly, but you just put yourself in such a comfortable spot. It's kind of a dream scenario. It just doesn't get much better than that. And if you just played a game 1 on a big stage, don't forget Hellraiser is already 0-1 in this group. MarineLorD is 1-0. I'm sure that Hellraiser looks at this best of 3 is like, if I want to finish top 4, which obviously he does, he needs to win this series. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, because this is one of those matchups where I think both these players are pretty darn evenly matched. I don't know what Hellraiser's MMR is, but I'd imagine they're both pretty high up in the 6Ks, you know?
Yeah, probably both around 6.5, right? MLord sometimes gets a bit higher, but that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, I think that's a super reasonable guess. Like, they both look at the other one as he's beatable, but he's also, like, you have to be careful. And when it comes down to these matches, like, these guys really, really battling it out, because it's Serral in this group, correct?
Yes, Serral already defeated Hellraiser.
Yeah, so when you've got a person like that in your group, you already know one qualification slot is basically taken up. So you really need to make every match count.
Yep, and like I said, Hellraiser is 0-1, but that 0-1 did come to the hands of Serral, so you're like, it is what it is. But this is one where if you want to make top 4, you just gotta win it. There's no way around it. He's opening up Adepts and Stargate, man.
Yeah, this could definitely be the Oracle thing, the repressed memory coming back. But like MarineLorD's already 2-1 up, or rather 1-0 up in the group because he beat Stefano, right? 2-1?
Yes, that is correct.
Which I think is also a pretty good, decent result for him. Phoenix again, haha.
Well, he can still go Phoenix into Oracle. He's done that 100%. And with all these adapts that he's been making, I would not be surprised at all to see this becoming a Phoenix Oracle kind of thing.
I like the Hellion, given that he doesn't really get a scout off. Like, I think he SV scouted earlier, or I'm not actually entirely sure if he did, but using the Hellion. Okay, so using the Hellion as your replacement and getting to see that Phoenix, doesn't know if it's real or not yet. Because that could have been a hallucination still, but this is cool.
Well, Hellion might be able to pick up a probe kill as well. If you get 2 here, you're going to feel really good if your MLord gets the first one, gets the second one. Man, this is some good value out of a little Hellion.
Yeah, great scouting info. He's got Vikings on the way now. The siege tank has started.
Oh!
And remember, third. Oh my gosh. Oh,
no!
Four. Oh!
Man, that was an MVP Hellion right there. Such a small investment, but a perfect scout. And then getting 3 probes. Woo, that feels good.
I won't be surprised if this is going to be like a Marine tank Viking all-in, honestly. Like, it's going to be very hard to hold if he does go for that, especially with him continuing like the Phoenix production. But there's not really much other way for Hellraiser to deviate out of what he's doing.
Yep, and we see a couple of SCVs being pulled. I mean, calling this an all-in is maybe getting a little carried away, but this is obviously a build where you want to get some good damage done. We saw this earlier in this tournament with Saul going up against Skillas. Skillas was not able to defend, but Skillas did lose a Phoenix very early on. What I want to see from Hellraiser is a much more forward battery. If you take a look at the natural of Hellraiser, I don't like defensive batteries, because if the tanks and bunkers go up, you're in all sorts of trouble anyway. I want to see them being built forward as far as possible to start the fight a lot further away from where it gets really scary.
I'm with you here, Kev. Like, I know keeping one battery back and that being the overcharge one is potentially something that might feel safer, but yeah, if you let bunkers go up here and now he's supply blocked as well, this is only going to get worse as time goes on.
Well, he uses battery overcharge on the more defensive one, actually, so that means he's not in range. The Phoenix count is high, but he drops the tank immediately. The Marine count is still so high. I think Hellraiser is in quite a bit of trouble. He does get the tank, and actually gets a couple of the Vikings there as well. Wants to make sure he keeps his Phoenix alive, and he kind of does. Hey, good job by Hellraiser. That looked a lot more scary than it turned out to be in the end.
Yeah, resources lost on both ends is pretty darn close. Like Hellraiser, he is getting supply blocked behind this, given that he can't produce probes right now. So, you know, a little bit of chaos in his build order, whereas MarineLorD back at home, 3rd CC is already halfway done. 2nd and 3rd barracks going up, even getting like Cyclone here, Vikings on the way. It's definitely a unusual way to play for MarineLorD, but I love it. And here, even threatening the 3rd that he expects going up, MarineLorD just seems very confident.
That's kind of weird, though, right? Like, that he was sieging up there. Now he's like, yeah, I guess maybe I should go home, because there is not much to gain at this point, and don't want to throw away 2 tanks and these Marines for free. No, I really like it for MLord. He's now up 5 workers. He's obviously going up to 3 bases quicker than his opponent. The one thing that's a bit annoying for MarineLorD here is that Stim is going to be very late. So in the next minute and a half of this game, he can't do much. But the good news for him, Ben, is he doesn't really have to do much because he's already in a good spot.
I love his scouting, by the way. Like, he kept 2 SCVs behind after doing that push, 1 at both possible thirds of his opponent. Now he just feels comfortable. Like, he didn't even need to see one of the Nexus going up exactly, but he saw the army moving there to get the Nexus up. So there's a lot of little things that MarineLorD's doing that are just very, very cool. It makes me think that he's thought a lot about what happens after the push.
Yep. No, he's looking like somebody who's done his homework. Look at the amount of energy on these Phoenixes, by the way. That's a little disturbing to me, man. I start feeling a little uncomfortable when I see this much energy on Phoenix. Imagine, obviously saying that all of those could have been SCV kills is maybe getting a little carried away, but he could have easily been picking off 4 or 5 Marines. But Hellraiser is playing a little paranoid. He was worried about something that couldn't possibly have been on the way, considering the fact how MLord opened. It almost felt like he kept him at home because he was so worried about a Liberator showing up, is my guess. But this is not good, man.
Yeah, maybe flashbacks from the first game, like the Widowmine drop randomly coming while a push happened, you know, and it's just it's a very dicey spot for him. MarineLorD with the double engineering bay, Hellraiser, he does have a Warp Prism, and he is moving aggressively. Yeah, no probes being made.
This is kind of cool, actually. I like it. This, in a way, becomes sort of an all-in, guys, because Hellraiser is down 14 workers and he's got no forge. But with the amount of energy that he does have, if he pops the Guardian Shield here, he just needs to make sure that he avoids the tanks or lifts the tanks. He's going to force the fight on MarineLorD. Guardian Shield, you want to lift those tanks at all costs. That is exactly what happens. The Colossus need to get some good shots off. Vikings on the bottom side. Phoenixes want to take care of this. I like where this is going for Hellraiser.
It's one of the best timings he can go for. 1-1 is not done. This is a very awkward spot between the natural and the third. 1-1 is very close to being done, but Hellraiser, you need to start doing something now. Yes, he's waiting for his warpins, but let's see what happens.
The tank. As long as he lifts the tank, he's going to be more than okay. Stalkers can fight the Vikings as well. Needs to keep lifting the tank. Both Colossus still alive, and Hellraiser is actually getting the job done here. Even though he does end up losing 1 Colossus, but now both tanks are in the air. One of them went down. The second one is going to fall. Oh. Did MarineLorD get a little overeager? Did he go up to 3 bases on location a little too quick? This was kind of his game. A couple of bunkers there, Ben, and I think MarineLorD walks away with the victory. Now it seems to be all Hellraiser.
Absolutely, Kev. A few bunkers, you're absolutely right. This army of Hellraiser, it's not one that lasts very long, but it's one that packs out a punch real darn quickly. So if you can kind of endure and outlast it, you're going to be fine. But Hellraiser, what a move to make under so much negative pressure.
I love it. Yeah, he just realized that he was going to be in a very bad spot and trying to get a Forge, trying to get Templar Archives and all that kind of stuff. He was going to lose. He was too far behind. So instead, he's like, nope, I'm going to use the tech that I do have, because that's one thing I've got going for myself. And I'm going to make a move out. And obviously, because he was sitting on so much energy, he was able to get the job done there. GG gets called. Hellraiser ties it up. I got to say, Ben, like, you know, making predictions, right? I was like, thinking to myself, like, man, that's not one of your finer predictions, Kev. Because, like, normally I would think that MarineLorD wins the series against Hellraiser. It's just that I felt good about Hellraiser lately. I feel like he's been playing good StarCraft. On top of that, MLorD doesn't love PvT. But I was like, well, this second game was unfolding. I was like, well, MLorD is just better, and he's going to win this 2-0, and we look a little silly. But Hellraiser just kind of took that game, and he's like, this is yours. And then he took it, and he's like, this is mine. And he walked away with it. And suddenly we're into game 3.
Yeah, surprisingly as well. Like the first game, it looked like Hellraiser was in a good spot, but then it quickly died a swift death. But then this game, MarineLorD looked like he was in a great spot, and then boom, like it's been very, very flip-floppy, but in ways that you can't necessarily predict. And Death Aura will be our third map of this series, which is kind of cool, honestly, Kev, because I haven't seen this map a hell of a lot in professional play just yet.
Yeah, it's been played here and there, but we haven't seen those rich Vespian guys really come into play. This is the map. I think Hellraiser is going to give us the magic that we've been waiting for. That double Stargate play against Terran with Phoenix Oracle. I know if you're just tuning in, you're like, what the hell is he talking about? I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I've seen him do it a couple of times. I saw him have a insane game, actually 2 games in a row against Kalazur a while ago. He's fun, man. Like I hope that this is... The problem with that kind of style as well is that it's really cool, but if it works properly, the game can just end, where he just kills everything with a bunch of oracles. I obviously don't wish that either, because I want to have a closer competitive game, but I think he's going to bust it out then.
You know, I ended up going mech against him when he did it, which was even more surprising. So I had like my 4 or 5 Cyclones. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be out on the map. It's going to be great. And then I got shaded on top of, and then the 8 oracles came, and I just, you know, I instantly lost, and I was like, I haven't seen this before. Like, you know, I was trying to like save face a little bit, but like, no, he just absolutely smashed me with it. It is rough when we hype something up so much and then you don't see it in the series from that guy. Because I know people used to hype up Hellraiser for his cannon rushes, and then he used to never do them for a while.
Well, then he did do them against Denver, and Denver made a very sad tweet. Like,
yes.
This isn't StarCraft. Sorry, Denver. I love you. I look forward to the next game. All right, guys, let's go ahead and hop into game 3 of Death Aura, where we are looking at the main base of the Ukrainian, who's probably feeling pretty damn good right now, because I don't think he was really feeling a game 3 at a certain point in this game. But here we are. It is Hellraiser.
And spawning over in the bottom right side, hailing from France, it is MarineLorD. It is good seeing MarineLorD competing again, because I know he's been one of the players that like has taken breaks here and there, had his little go in Overwatch and stuff. But you know, if StarCraft's in you, it's in you.
That's beautiful. I can't possibly follow that up, Benjamin.
Oh, you sure can, Kevin. You are the best. The best caster out there, Kev.
Wow, you're making this so awkward. I thought for a second you were going to say, like, no, Kevin, you're the best with words. But then you're like, no, actually, you're not very articulate at all. So I'm going to take that back. I'm like, geez, Benjamin, that's so mean. Why would you say those things to me?
I didn't know where to go with it. So I was like, no, I'll just drop this one on you. It's like those parties where, like, you know, somebody says like, oh yeah, you're so pretty, and you're like, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just making things really weird, man. Like, oh.
It's like, did you lose weight? No, I'm actually heavier than I've ever been. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, I still don't know how to deal with those ones, you know, like at all. I just feel awkward.
All right, well, we'll see if MarineLorD wants... Wait, what? Is this...
Was that reactor first?
Yeah, wow. Okay, you're gonna tell me that this is... I called out the greedy Terran builds before, and you're like, oh, you know, we're just trying to catch up to that Protoss economy. Well, how do we feel about this? Reactor first, CC low ground, and no scout. What, greedy, Ben, or you think like, nah, it's okay?
I think it's a well-educated build, Kevin. As you
Oh
see,
my God.
his Protoss opponent didn't even scout with a probe, so like didn't stop any of this happening. Greed versus greed, Kevin.
Where is Max Pax when you need him the most? That's what I'm thinking right now.
Actually, yes, that would have been problematic. But this is going to be a lot of Marines very quickly. I remember Uthermal doing something like this a long time ago, where it was like 4 Marines, and then he'd switch over the factory and then make Hellions, and it'd be like this quick fly bust at the front wall kind of thing. So I'm wondering if MarineLorD has something like that in mind, because that could definitely work against a player that has been making Phoenix every game.
Yeah, depends a lot on the wall off, depends a lot on whether there's a battery or not, but Phoenixes can be alright against those builds as well, even though it takes a little while before they really get in there. I like the Marine flank that's coming in from the top side. This Adept is in a little bit of trouble, and it will barely live.
Oh, do you think if he kept the SV on it, it could have been a bit of a... maybe a bit of poking and getting him down, but it is that Hellion play, Kevin, so I like this.
He would have been able to get 1 hit off, but then the Adept would still be alive.
I wonder if this kind of play coming out from MarineLorD is because of these little speed zones. Like, somebody must have checked how long the rush distance is, utilizing those to get across, but I don't think it's too much different to any other map.
It's actually one of the bigger maps.
Okay, well, thanks for shutting me down, Kev.
I'm sorry, these are just facts. I think it's the second largest at the moment.
Okay, so far, Hellraiser's done a really good job of being prepared for this. Oh, taking a bit of damage there on the Phoenix. Now the Hellions are here, and that shield battery, it's already used up most of its energy.
Battery overcharge doesn't need energy, though.
Doesn't, but less chrono boost. You know, we're just fighting again against those greedy Protosses, Kevin, every way that we possibly can.
Well, so far so good for Hellraiser, right? He's not taking any damage yet, and I think that's the most important part for him in his build order.
Yeah, and Hellions don't really come into play at any point later on in this matchup either. Like, at best, they're just going to be a bit of cannon fodder at the front, like a bit more of a meat shield, but so far this game, it's been an unusual opening for MarineLorD, but neither one of them is in any trouble.
No, I think that MLord would definitely love to get something done there, but he sized up the situation. He's like, 2 Adepts, my Marines are not going to win it. I can send Hellions in, but Phoenix kill Hellions very quickly. It doesn't make any sense for me to really commit there. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with MarineLorD disengaging. He's down a couple workers, but that's relatively standard in this matchup. And we're just kind of heading into a normal mid-game, where once again we see a quick Robo Bay. This is awfully similar to some degree to what we saw on Pillars of Gold, even though the openings, like with Widow Mines and stuff, tiny bit different. But I think we're looking at a kind of a similar scenario where if Hellraiser this time does a better job at keeping those initial Robo units alive, I honestly think that he's in a pretty fine spot.
Certainly. I mean, his third isn't super early, but it never is when you go Phoenix into Colossus like this. This is some decent Phoenix damage. Getting 3 SCVs and a few Marines and getting out of there.
Yep, getting out of there with all of them. Hellions are just in the bottom side of the map. They're like, we don't want to get picked up by Phoenixes either. I have the feeling, like, as good as MarineLorD is, I don't think MarineLorD is really good against Protoss players that sit back forever on super strong armies and then get a whole bunch of disruptors, right? Like, I've seen MLord kind of lose his cool and then take a fight or two that you shouldn't really take against disruptors. So I really like this on paper for Hellraiser. I like where he's going with it. I love how quick he went up to 3 bases. I feel like he's doing everything right, and he has a shot at redemption for the things that went wrong in Game 1.
I think you're right. I think MarineLord's strengths often lie in the fact that he's got very good unit control, and he's just got, again, he's very good if things go his way kind of thing. These Hellions, though, he kept them alive, and again, quite a few probes falling down to these Hellions, and I mean, definitely nice use of that, honestly.
Yep, I mean, who could have ever predicted that those 2 Hellions would still get 5 probes? Very well done there. A bit unfortunate for Hellraiser that units were out of position and not quick enough to catch up. Because now we have a probe heading towards the other side. Is this going to get... Wait, what? Is that a messed up rally?
Missed rally, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You know, these guys definitely feeling the pressure. And that's why we can't be super critical of all of their plays. For the people that just joined this broadcast, the cool thing about these massive round robins is that it's not just top 4 and you advance or you're eliminated. No, you get $125 for winning every single best of 3 as well. So that's super cool. That's obviously important for a lot of these dudes. It only makes sense that they are feeling the pressure.
Certainly. And again, every match counts. And especially when you're playing against somebody that both these guys are capable of beating the other one. And when you have top dogs like Cyril in the group, one of those spaces is more than likely taken up. So every match counts.
Yep. MarineLorD is making a move out with a decent bio army, but fighting near battery and all these phoenixes shouldn't be that good. Acceleration zone then stimming through these marines quicker than Usain Bolt. Pick off a phoenix and close to the second one as well. They're so fast, come on.
Yeah, they moved so fast chasing down those phoenix because normally they wouldn't have been able to get it, I don't think. But man, they were quick. That was awesome. So MarineLorD has just finished up +1/+1. The +1 attack for Hellraiser has finished up, but right now MarineLorD has a decent upgrade advantage somewhat, but a Colossus, 2 Colossus, Phoenix pickups go down as well. That was a nice little hold.
Oh, like Phoenix, this one, though. Yeah, I didn't like that second move. The initial lifts were really good, and he lost the Phoenix. Like, it is what it is. You get a Cyclone and a couple of Marauders. The second one, Hellraiser got over it. He got too far ahead of the rest of his army and just lost like 4 Phoenixes real quick. That makes me a little sad for him because these Phoenixes still have value. They do find the Viking. This is the kind of value we're talking about. Even just having 1 Phoenix is awesome. So medevacs can just idle above like airspace.
No, certainly. I was just wondering, like, he's still building up his Viking count. Very often when Terrans do that, it's because they're not necessarily against the Colossus army, where they make the Viking, initially, and then they'll go send it in to try and deal probe damage. And it can deal good damage, but a bit unusual to kind of sacrifice one of many, I suppose, when you're still going for them.
Maybe just a little lost, man. Sometimes Vikings just want to have a little adventure and they get kind of confused where they really are.
I guess it's also one of those things. A Viking unattended will absolutely butcher a probe line. Like, they deal so much damage to probes, it's unreal, actually. Like, 2-shotting them, I believe.
Now, Double Forge. Blink is close to finishing up. It's going to be a lot about the Disruptors at this point. Hellraiser is okay with the idea of MarineLorD making a lot of Vikings because it's not about the Colossus anymore. The Colossus did their job. They survived early on. And of course, you want to get a couple of good shots of them. But it's going to be a whole lot more about the Disruptors. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is that the Immortal count is at 0. And it's at 1. Okay, but that's not great against Marauders, right? So if the shots don't land, Hellraiser doesn't really have much in his army. That's great against Marauders at this point, because he doesn't even have charge.
No, you're right. And even the sentry count is fairly low. Like, keeping the army, the bio army, away from him, which is what he wants, he doesn't really have much utility to do that. And MarineLorD is getting into a decent position here. 2-2 isn't done yet for either player. Decent EMP for sure.
Guardian Shield? No, it's going to blink for now. Kind of like it. MarineLorD trying to get some free shots off with his Vikings, but good unit positioning there by Hellraiser. It's all about these Disruptors. MarineLorD doesn't like going up against them. 2-3, sure, but yeah, he's got good micro, but against 6 or 7 Disruptors, you don't micro. You outmaneuver them, you avoid them. MarineLorD often still takes the fights, and those are just not winnable straight-up fights, unless you've got a whole bunch of Liberators with advanced ballistics as well.
And looking at this map and just seeing where Hellraiser's been positioning, it's so hard for the Terran to engage when he does have, A, the ability to force field, and B, the Disruptors. Like, almost every way that you attack, besides the north here, you have to go up a ramp, which is absolutely not what you want to be doing. So that is almost the only exposed location for Hellraiser, and he's got it covered.
Yep, MarineLorD is being as annoying as possible, still pretending he kind of wants to attack, but also knows he doesn't really want to run into that army, especially not near static defenses. He's slapping down multiple CCs. I love all of that. I would love to see the Fusion Core. I really think it's the most important thing he could possibly go for at this point.
Yeah, certainly. The Liberators are a great choice, and this is such a Stalker-heavy army. He's also getting +2 weapons on the air units as well, which means they'll 2-shot Stalkers when that upgrade comes in. They're both very on top of their scouting, and MarineLorD is not slowing down. He's trying to make the life of Hellraiser a little bit difficult, but Hellraiser, he's approaching max as well now. Like, this is as strong as they've both been in this series.
Yeah, this is going to be fun, right? Because Hellraiser clearly kind of would be okay with fighting right now. He's like, yeah, kind of, let's take a fight. And MarineLorD is like, no, not right now, okay? Like, I don't love my army that much yet. I want to get those +2 for the Liberators to two-shot those Stalkers, like you just mentioned. And above all, I want to get advanced ballistics. There's that fusion core that I was wishing for. This is fun, man. They both kind of got what they wanted. I think MarineLorD maybe wanted a little more, but here we are. It is going to be proper late game. Hellraiser is going to channel his best Zest impression by getting Shadow Stride over here as well. I used to always think it was Shadow Strike, man. Shadow Strike makes a lot more sense, no?
Shadow Stride, but I guess you don't actually hit when you cast it, right?
I don't know. I feel like you're striking the army. You blink on top of it. Like, it just makes sense to me.
Sure, I can get behind you, but somebody would come along and be like, well, you don't actually hit with this ability, you know, so calling it a strike, and it'd be like, okay.
True, but then again, whenever you think of Zeratul, he always jumps forward and strikes. No? Come on. Like, I was just thinking of Zeratul. All right, these armies are getting awfully... Yeah, these armies are getting in a really funny spot. Now, Liberators blink, but, well, excuse me, the Stalkers blink. The Liberators are left a little exposed because Hellraiser is doing a really good job in just pushing this army away. And now he gets, I want to say a good shot as well, but it's only a single Marauder. I have no idea how that happened. And hey, some good army movement there by Hellraiser.
Good army movement by both of them, and the upgrades weren't online yet for either player. Like, advanced ballistics not yet done, 3-3 not yet done. This is very, very dicey, and right before when MarineLorD really wants to fight, and Hellraiser is getting into a neat position here. He's on the other side of the ramp now.
I would love to see MarineLorD give up this planetary for no. This is not a fight that I'd love to see him take, but he snipes Disruptor, still avoids them. Oh my goodness. Wow, what a fight. I can't believe he managed to dodge all those Purification Novas. That is just insane. Takes care of the Colossus, gets all the Disruptors. Now a couple of Zealots actually come forward. They're going to try to save the day. Stalkers blink forward. A few Marauders are left, but they're struggling with the Zealots, and that means that Hellraiser still wins this fight in the end, but he won it only because of the reinforcements.
Yeah, that fight, like, the supplies look fairly close. In fact, Hellraiser just walked in a ton of units. But Marine, like, they both fought down to the bone. One good thing for MarineLorD, though, is that this army of Hellraiser is totally lacking in tech now. Yeah, he's going to be piling on some more Colossus and Disruptors, but that is primarily gateway units, which they're going to be a lot worse against, like, the Ghosts, the Liberators and such, for sure.
What I like, actually, is that he's now going back into Colossus, where it's like, okay, you've got a lot of Liberators, so you lost all your Vikings. Let's go back into Colossus. That's obviously nice. I mean, Libs are not bad against Colossus, but Hellraiser can just maneuver around with his quick gateway army and then the Colossus as well. Big EMPs landing in the middle of the map, or middle of the army, but indeed, 10 Dark Templars on the left side. Man, I think we're going to see some blinks on top of a planetary fortress.
This is one of the most infuriating things to go up against. They are getting into the base undetected, and boom, Shadow striding on that PF and striking it down. They do, but after you see this little command center farm, you're probably a bit like, oh wow, my opponent.
Lift? Oh, yes, he needs to lift. Okay, actually, his scan goes down there, so all the Dark Templars go down in the bottom. That's kind of crazy. A lot of SCVs go down in the end. Does he have the ability to blink away? Yes, he does. Well, not a bad move by Hellraiser at all.
No, definitely outstayed his welcome there because DTs are darn expensive. But right now, Hellraiser kind of needs to keep up the tempo, keep up the pace, because his army composition itself is really, really low tech. And yeah, he needs to just keep on being crazy, keep on pressuring MarineLorD.
It's all about it. Like, he has a faster army that moves around and can definitely dart back and forth a little bit better. Blinks forward. There is a lot of Marauders. I would get the hell out of there. Hellraiser relies on the Purification Nova. Gets a decent hit in the end as well. But you're right. He was super Stalker heavy. A lot of Zealots still in the mix. He's actually doing another Dark Templar run by on the top right side. Blinks on top of this planetary as well. Hellraiser gets the second PF snipe, and at the same time, he's still active with his army in the bottom. He's making some good plays, man.
He really is. Like, this is exactly what you don't want to go up against as a Terran.
Oh, Disruptor could have fired, but it didn't fire. Sorry.
But no, that was worth mentioning, Kev. Like, 15 SCVs going down. These DT hit squads, they have the ability to just get out of there if they do so please with the Shadow Stride. And MarineLorD, even though his supply's decent, even though he's got, like, money to spend and stuff, it is such a hard position to be in.
Yep. Well, this is maybe the army that he can sort of actually fight, but the static defenses make it a lot harder. Obviously, every stim really hurts. Zealots, Ben. Zealots are coming in, and as crazy as it sounds, guys, Zealots are the biggest problem for this army of MarineLorD. As the Stalkers blink in real deep, they snipe all the Liberators. They might go down, but that's okay, because Hellraiser just did a lot of economic damage, and the Zealots will indeed take care of those Marauders. I think slowly but steady, Hellraiser is pulling away. What a game.
It really has been a crazy back and forthy kind of game, but over the last few minutes, Hellraiser, his plan came to action. Like, he just put MarineLorD in a really tricky spot. Like, yeah, you can come after my army that you can obviously beat in a straight up fight, but I'm going to kill all your bases while that happens. And, you know, he just utilized his mobility, like as you said so well.
Yep, his army moves around quick. Dark Templar is going to town on this mineral line. 16 more SCVs that go down. That command center is now also on fire. May potentially go down as well. He's going to try to get out of there with a couple. This is not MarineLorD's entire army, and that's also not an army he can fight. This is no longer a planetary fortress. Hellraiser is just completely destroying the economy of MarineLorD at this point, and no GG gets called. Hellraiser